Hello peeps, this is Bills from Luke's Media. In the last video, we looked at what is NoFap and masturbating to porn. Now we will look at how it affects a human life and brain. Before we go any forward, I must explain that there are three kinds of basic human needs. For the purpose of this video, we will touch upon just two of them. The first one is the need to survive, and the second is the need to reproduce. In first case, every human being wants to protect his own life, the life of his loved one, his children, have a home, have food, have future, and other such things. All these needs are bundled together under one heading, and that is to survive. On the other hand, we have a need to reproduce. Now, if you look at it, the need to reproduce takes 80% of our time and effort, because we can buy a normal car which can take us from point A to point B. But why do we need bigger, flashy, expensive sports cars? Why do we need designer clothes? Why do we need big homes, careers, a good gym fit body? So all these efforts that a human puts in is to represent himself as a suitable sexual partner to his counterpart. So all these efforts are bundled together under the heading of reproductive need. Now, when a person takes the course of PMO and starts fulfilling his needs from masturbating to porn, what happens? The first thing that happens is our brain start to unlearn the social skills, because now our brain thinks that talking to a female, going to the gym, making yourself presentable, wearing good dress, etc., this is not required. It is not helpful in achieving your reproductive objectives. So our brain starts to unlearn these social skills. That is why we have seen people who are introvert in nature spend most of the time in front of a computer screen. They have social anxiety, they have more difficulty in talking to female and expressing themselves, and they actually shy away from the real world, because for them their real world exists somewhere else. The next important thing is that our brain does not know and does not care between the reality and the fiction. Our brain does not care if our sexual needs are fulfilled from a real human being or a pixelated image from a screen. That is because whenever a human being goes through an experience, a pleasant or a pleasant experience, there is release of dopamine in our brain. Our brain just cater for that, or just needs those dopamine. It does not care what triggered those dopamine. All it wants is those dopamine and a lot of it. There is no difference for our brain between a real sexual encounter and a sexual encounter between a person masturbating to porn. So in most of the cases, the second scenario works best for our brain, because there is less effort, less anxiety. It is available at any time, more variety, more variation, the ability to stop and start whenever you want. So the second situation is more beneficial for the brain, and above all, in the second situation, one can entertain himself for hours and hours and hours, whereas in the first case, the act of actual sex is not always that prolonged. So the brain has less time to release dopamines. Now, moving on. There have been scientific studies in which it was studied that when a mice was addicted to cocaine, it will lose all its motivation, energy for the basic life activities, even including food and walking and everything. That is because the level of dopamine that is triggered by cocaine, and in our case PMO, is so high that anything else, talking to someone, going for a walk, having a laugh, everything seems very mundane, very boring, very dull in the life of such a person. So there is fatigue, laziness, extreme lack of attention, and it is like the person is relegated from the normal life. All the withdrawal symptoms that we see in a cocaine or heroin addict are present in a PMO addict to a little less degree. Furthermore, when our brain receives large doses of dopamine, there is an actual reduction of dopamine receptors in our brain. The number of receptors are reduced. So next time we need more dopamine to trigger the same level of excitement and enjoyment. That is why people addicted to porn go for more and more hardcore porn. They want to see the next big thing, because what they saw yesterday is mundane and boring. And this is a never ending cycle. I must point out that in case of cocaine or heroin, there is some physical limit because of the cost or availability of the drug. But in case of porn, it is virtually unlimited, and it is free, and it is extremely easy as compared to getting and acquiring cocaine or heroin. So the person addicted to PMO will indulge himself for hours and hours and hours, and the consequences and the cost to his life and health can be exponential. However, now in the end, I'll just summarize whatever I have said so far, and that is, when a person is addicted to PMO, his brain unlearn all the social skills. There is a reduction in the number of dopamine receptors. We have withdrawal-like symptoms. There is lack of energy, enthusiasm, motivation. There is no will to go out and enjoy life, because the most interesting thing in that person's life is PMO. So finally, let's see what is the solution. The solution is a 90 days refrain from PMO. No masturbation or looking at porn for 90 days. Why 90 days? Because that is the amount of time that is considered enough to restore the dopamine balance in the brain of a addicted person. It increased the number of receptors, and most of the people who have gone for 90 days have reported that after 90 days they have more energy, like a different outlook at life. They are more interested in what is happening around them. Their mind is not focused on the same PMO and masturbating stuff, and they are more interested in their life. Hope this video helped you in one way or the other, and in case you think someone needs to hear this, please share it with them. Thank you.